the smoke from the campfire. I must do something about this. I thought I had fallen asleep by the campfire, but I must have somehow dragged my weary feet to the bed before falling into a deep slumber. I opened the door to ventilate the room, and as soon as I stepped out, I saw Hugin. He told me that my stamina regeneration would be affected if I was cold or wet. But as we were conversing, I thought I heard an arrow fly by, but I was still shaking of the fatigue that I almost fell victim to an arrow. Again, an arrow shot by a skeleton. Probably the companion of the one I had dismantled with my axe yesterday. A good Viking knows to choose the right fight, and now, that's not my fight. Thankfully, I was able to escape fast enough that the skeleton lost sight of me. I ate one of the mushrooms I found yesterday, and miraculously, my wounds began to heal. Even my wounds from the day before, as well as that which took me from the mortal world, were gone. No, that's not a miracle. I'm already dead. These kinds of things are common in the ethereal world, and yet there's nothing ethereal about all that's happening. I carefully returned to my temporary abode, determined to make improvements to it. A dense fog had rolled in and brought about a sense of urgency to the renovation task. Who would know what evil the fog might bring? I set about repairing the walls and extending them. But in my eagerness, I'd forgotten a door. Silly me, a door! I tore down a wall panel and replaced it with a simple wooden door, and no sooner had I done that than a skeleton appeared. It's the same skeleton that shot me earlier in the day. I thanked the stars for being lucky, for had I been just a little slower, the skeleton would have come through the gap. As I worked to improve the house, I remained mindful of the fact that a deadly, dead skeleton still lurks on the other side of the wall, and was soon proven right. It's still there. After a few more changes to the house, I sat down and cooked some boar meat. Finally, some cooked food. It was only after eating one of them had I noticed that food would increase my stamina and endurance, two key factors to my survival. Having been invigorated by a hot meal, I set out to find the skeleton and finish it once and for all. It didn't take long. I dodged a few of its arrows and carefully approached before springing into a quick run to close the final distance. I trusted in my own abilities to take down the skeleton, and I did, but not without taking yet another arrow to my shoulder. Seriously, what feud does my shoulder have with arrows? The skeleton having been dispatched, I set about gathering materials. All was fine until a group of 3 greydwarves charged towards me. Why did this scene look so familiar? My last moments in the mortal world. I was still feeling re-energized from the food and the combat just moments ago. Brandished my axe with confidence, and all 3 greydwarves fell easily. While fighting the third, though, I definitely felt the fatigue as my axe swings were slower. Although each of the dwarves were able to injure me, it dawned on me that in Valheim, wounds heal in time as long as I ate consistently. Dawn. It's dusk, and I need to return to the safety of my shelter. The rest of the day had gone by somewhat uneventfully, except for a strange chime that sounded while I was chopping trees. Hugin told me that the chime heralded my discovery of new lands, and this time in particular, it was the Black Forest, the residence of Icthir. I'll have to face it one day.